The 2026 FIFA World Cup was supposed to bring a massive tourism boom to the United States, but now, just weeks before kickoff, hotels in multiple host cities are reporting shockingly weak bookings. One hotel beside MetLife Stadium reportedly had 0 reservations, hotels in Los Angeles are sitting far below expectations, and tourism officials are starting to sound worried.
But it looks like it's turning out to be a bust.
Yeah, that's probably not what you want to hear from a hotel director just weeks before the biggest sporting event on the planet. This is the director of the Hollywood Hotel in Los Angeles. And the last time we heard from him, he was already warning that bookings were looking weaker than expected. But now we're finally seeing the actual numbers for June and July, the peak World Cup months, and they are much lower than many people expected. In fact, his hotel is currently sitting below 50% occupancy. And later in this video, I'll show you the exact numbers, but Los Angeles isn't the only city seeing this problem. In New Jersey, a hotel located directly across from MetLife Stadium reportedly had 0 bookings during the World Cup period. 0. The hotel eventually had to lower prices and remove minimum stay requirements just to start attracting guests. And even after making those adjustments, bookings still appear weaker than expected. Meanwhile, Philadelphia hotels are also reporting slower demand than anticipated. And in this video, we're going to hear directly from hotel executives, tourism officials, and local media reports across multiple host cities. Because what we're seeing right now is starting to raise a much bigger question. Did the United States massively overestimate international demand for the 2026 FIFA World Cup? Over the past few months, we've already heard concerns coming out of Seattle, Kansas City, San Francisco, Los Angeles, Dallas, and Houston, and now the same conversation is spreading to New York, New Jersey, and Philadelphia. So let's start with the latest update coming out of Los Angeles.
We're now exactly 1 month away from the first World Cup match at SoFi Stadium, but as the excitement among fans builds, the hotel industry is sounding the alarm. A trade group says nearly 70% of its hotels in the region report bookings below their expectations. But first, Alex Rozier, live for us in Hollywood, where the economic side of the World Cup is sort of falling flat here. Alex.
Michael, there's some real disappointment and concern because the World Cup is really a global event that people have been looking forward to for years. Now, 1 month from the games beginning at SoFi Stadium, some hotel directors are wondering if their hotels will even fill up.
And honestly, one of the biggest issues may simply be price. A lot of hotels appear to have expected massive international demand, so many of them pushed prices extremely high. But now, with less than a month to go before kickoff, some hotels are beginning to realize that demand may not be matching those expectations. At this point, many properties may have no choice but to lower prices if they want to fill rooms.
As excitement builds for World Cup soccer at SoFi Stadium, concern is growing at the Hollywood Hotel.
The truth is in the numbers. I don't make this up. These are facts.
Jeff Zarinum is the hotel director. He shared their projections for the World Cup. He said as of now, in June, they're 37% booked. He expects that'll increase to 65%. In July, they're at 35%. His forecast shows they'll be at 75%. But typically, he says every summer, they are more than 90% booked.
Those numbers are honestly pretty shocking. For an event that was expected to bring huge waves of international tourism into Los Angeles, seeing occupancy rates sitting at 35% to 37% this close to the tournament is far below what many people expected. And even the hotel director's forecasted numbers, 65% and 75%, are still well below what the hotel normally sees during a regular summer. That's important, because this isn't just about failing to meet World Cup expectations. According to the hotel director, they may not even reach their usual summer performance. And at this point, if hotels want to improve bookings, they may have to rely much more heavily on domestic travelers, because for many international visitors, the costs of attending this World Cup have become extremely expensive.
Seeing these low numbers, how are you feeling?
Not too good.
Zarinum also says he subscribes to STR hotel research that he says shows hotels across the Hollywood and Beverly Hills region are, on average, at 28% occupancy for the World Cup window.
Now that number really stands out. An average occupancy rate of around 28% across parts of the Los Angeles region during the World Cup period is dramatically lower than many people expected for an event of this scale. And honestly, it raises a bigger question. If hotel demand is this soft in major host cities, could attendance inside some stadiums also end up weaker than expected? Because for months, the assumption was that wealthy tourists, corporate guests, and international fans would flood these cities regardless of price. But these numbers suggest demand may not be as automatic as many businesses expected.
It's not for the entire city of LA. But, Hollywood is a bellwether indicator of what's happening in the city in general. You can attribute it to a few factors.
He said hotels had to increase their rates because hotel workers' minimum wage and health care credit goes up this summer in Los Angeles.
Now, hotels are also pointing to rising labor costs and operating expenses as one reason prices increased. But at the same time, many tourists may simply feel that attending this World Cup has become too expensive overall. And that includes far more than just hotels. Flights, food, transportation, parking, and especially ticket prices have all increased significantly.
and ticket prices may have pushed away potential fans.
They are very, very expensive.
Natalia Vasquez lives in Colombia and has been to 3 World Cups.
I've been in Germany, in Brazil, and Russia.
She's going this year, too, in Philadelphia. She says it was the cheapest host city, and she says her ticket is 3 times more than her last World Cup.
For this time, the ticket was in 1,000 each ticket. And the last time in Russia, it was for 3 tickets for the first round, the same price.
And that comparison is probably going to resonate with a lot of longtime World Cup fans. For many international supporters, this tournament appears significantly more expensive than previous World Cups. And while hardcore fans may still attend no matter what, higher costs could be discouraging more casual travelers from making the trip.
And that doesn't include the parking and the food and the hotel room and the flight.
You had high hopes. I mean, this is the World Cup.
Well, this is what everybody was banking on, but it looks like it's turning out to be a bust.
And when hotel executives themselves start using words like bust, it tells you just how much expectations may have changed, because only weeks ago, many analysts and local businesses were still expecting a late surge in bookings. Now the conversation is starting to shift toward whether the tourism boom was overestimated from the beginning.
In terms of business for hotels.
And on top of that, right now, the LA City Council is considering letting people who own second homes rent them out as Airbnbs in the city. Hotel owners are saying that will only saturate a hurting market. This is a story that we are going to continue to follow as soccer comes close here in Los Angeles.
So the biggest takeaway from Los Angeles right now is simple. The booking numbers are much weaker than expected. A hotel director expected to benefit from one of the largest sporting events in the world is reporting occupancy rates far below normal summer levels. And Los Angeles may not even be the worst example, because now we move to New Jersey, where one hotel located directly across from MetLife Stadium reportedly started with 0 World Cup bookings.
The World Cup was expected to be an economic boon for local hotels and restaurants. But new data shows hotel demand here in the city may not be as strong as expected. John Diaz has the story.
We leveled everything.
At the former Park Hotel at Meadowlands in East Rutherford, now known as the World of Blue, crews are working around the clock as it undergoes a massive renovation.
And the situation is especially interesting because the hotel owner appears to have invested heavily ahead of the World Cup. The property is literally located just steps away from MetLife Stadium. In theory, this should have been one of the easiest hotels to fill.
We have custom lighting that's going in here within the next week.
Owner Harvey Rosenblatt hopes to open by June 1st, just in time for the World Cup. The hotel is yards away from MetLife Stadium.
You're literally right across the road.
But he admits even that wasn't booking rooms at first.
Everybody's charging $1,400 a night, and they're asking for 4-night minimums. And that's what we did. And we got 0 bookings.
That may be one of the most surprising details in this entire story. A hotel located directly beside one of the main World Cup stadiums reportedly started with 0 bookings after setting extremely high nightly prices and minimum stay requirements. And eventually the hotel had to adjust, prices were lowered, minimum stay rules were removed, because demand simply wasn't coming in at the level many businesses expected.
So he slashed prices and got rid of minimum stay requirements.
We've seen an uptick over the last 2-3 weeks.
Rosenblatt says his hotel is now more than 50% booked for World Cup nights, but new data from the company CoStar shows many New York City hotels are still lagging. On some match nights, only about 1/3 of hotel rooms are filled.
And that's another important point. Once prices started coming down, bookings improved. But even then, many hotels across the New York and New Jersey area still appear far below where they expected to be, this close to the tournament. Some reports are now showing only around 1/3 of hotel rooms filled on certain match nights. That's a major gap between expectations and reality.
Nearly 12% below last year's levels.
Do you think that New York City and the area could actually lose money on the World Cup?
Higher prices that are pricing people out, but also the fact that people are just geopolitically not looking to come to the U.S. And it could cause New York City to lose money.
A spokesperson for the travel app Going, Katie Nastro, says New York isn't alone.
The other 10 host cities also seeing a softening.
And according to these reports, New York isn't the only city dealing with weaker bookings. The same pattern appears to be emerging across multiple World Cup host cities. Now, tourism officials are still hoping for a late surge in demand as fans finalize travel plans, but with the tournament approaching quickly, the pressure on hotels is clearly increasing.
Hospitality officials saying as more people start to buy last-minute tickets or resale tickets, we may start to see more hotel rooms book up. Mayor Mamdani saying Monday many fans are likely waiting until matchups are finalized before locking in their travel plans.
We have a little more than 30 days until the World Cup starts, a little more than 60 days until the World Cup final.
And to be fair, there is still time for demand to improve. A lot of fans do wait until closer to the tournament before finalizing travel plans, especially for international events where matchups and schedules matter. But at the same time, hotels were clearly expecting stronger booking activity much earlier, and that's why concerns are growing now. So now let's move to Philadelphia.
One of the biggest indicators of demand for a big event is hotel reservations. A month out from the first match, you may think hotels are fully booked in Philadelphia, but the president of the Greater Philadelphia Hotel Association told NBC 10 they are not.
Well, we are a little bit below our booking pace that we expected. It's a little disappointing, but we're still anticipating a good summer. Anecdotally, I can tell you that my hotels are reporting that the pickup has been slower than anticipated. There's still rooms available for the matches.
Now, unlike Los Angeles and New York, this report doesn't give detailed occupancy numbers, but the overall message sounds very similar. Bookings are slower than expected, and there are still large numbers of hotel rooms available during World Cup match days, which again raises the question, how much weaker is international demand compared to what businesses originally projected?
While other tourism groups said that could have made the demand seem higher than it was. All the tourism groups point to one major factor, though, the decline in international travelers coming to the U.S. Data shows it was down more than 5% in 2025 compared to the year before. The National Travel and Tourism Office just released data. And look here, it shows a 14% decrease in foreign visitors coming to the U.S. last month compared to the year before.
Now, this may be one of the most important statistics in the entire report. A 14% decline in foreign visitors compared to the previous year is a significant drop, because the World Cup depends heavily on international tourism, and historically, international visitors tend to stay longer and spend far more money than domestic tourists.
And of course, the World Cup normally draws fans from around the world. If this trend continues, it also is potentially costly. According to the U.S. Travel Association, international World Cup visitors spend more and stay longer. I talked to a leader with that group about what's behind the drop in foreign travelers. He told me a steep drop from Canada in particular and domestic politics.
If you take Canada out of the data for international travel, inbound arrivals, international visitors were actually up 1% to the United States last year.
Now, that statement is probably going to be debated quite heavily, because over the past year there have also been reports of weaker tourism demand coming from parts of Europe and Asia as well. Still, it's clear that declining Canadian travel is having a major impact on the overall numbers.
So a lot of the decline we're seeing is actually driven by a decline in visitation from Canada, and it's an important market. They're important partners, they're important friends and family that we've got to win back their business.
What is the biggest factor that you all are watching that you think could have a major impact on whether people decide to travel here and how often they're traveling?
I think if people have the misperception that they're not welcome in the United States, that it's harder to get a visa, that there is a chance that they're going to be detained or questioned, even though the numbers have not increased compared to previous years, that misperception can do the most damage in discouraging people from even thinking about the United States as a destination and choosing to go elsewhere in the world.
And this may be another factor influencing international tourism right now. Perception. Even if actual policies or statistics haven't changed dramatically, if international travelers feel uncertain or uncomfortable about visiting the United States, many may simply choose different destinations. And for an event as globally dependent as the World Cup, perception matters a lot.
By the way, Canadian travelers could also just be choosing to support the homeland. There are World Cup matches in Toronto and Vancouver as well.
And yes, Canada hosting matches in Toronto and Vancouver is probably helping keep more Canadian tourists inside the country. But many analysts believe there are broader economic and political reasons also affecting travel decisions right now.
So here's the good news. It's early. Hansen said once World Cup play starts and all the excitement builds, chances are more people will come out. Visit Philly's president Angela Val told us she's also not worried. In fact, she says Visit Philly is doing something a little different. They're not advertising to international visitors. They're calling on other Americans to come to Philly to either go to the World Cup or just enjoy the vibes around it.
And that may be the clearest sign yet that expectations around the 2026 FIFA World Cup are starting to change. Hotels in Los Angeles are reporting weak occupancy. A hotel beside MetLife Stadium reportedly started with 0 bookings. And cities across the U.S. are now relying more heavily on domestic travelers instead of the massive international tourism boom many expected. Now, things could still improve. Last-minute bookings may still surge once the tournament begins, but for now it's becoming clear that the road to the 2026 FIFA World Cup has not unfolded the way many businesses expected. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, subscribe to Global State for more deep analysis on the global stories shaping politics, economics, and major world events.